As we slide on down the road from top down, we have more intermediate level guns. These are gonna be rifles that have more of usually like a specific intention behind them. The TR-16 is modeled after like a short barrel 308 style, but a lot of guys will buy these and then lengthen these out and make these look more like a DMR style rifle because it has that 308 style magazine to it. These bad boys were selling for $430. The FPS on that is also about 400 flat, which means it's a good baseline for a DMR or like a CQB DMR, if that's even a thing, if that's what players want to do with it. These SSG-1s are probably my favorite gun out of the box that they make on the market. We're selling these at $335. When players start saying, hey, I want like a faster rate of fire, or if they start talking about like, hey, I want to start doing tournament stuff, what do you recommend? Boop, this freaking thing. They come with these translucent see-through 105 mid caps, which are okay. They're a really good quality magazine for a while. But tournament dudes really want to run like the 170 or the 250s from PTS. So this is like a backup magazine, or I've honestly seen kids just give these away. Like, hey, are you new? Here you go. The selling point for this, other than like the aesthetic quality, like, oh, this is different, is one, the freaking trigger response on these is probably the best out of any stock AEG I've ever seen in the market. This is the best. This trigger response beats them all. It even beats the ARP9. And to me, it's a significant difference. The adjustable stock is probably the biggest selling factor because if they want to get into tournaments and do silly speedy things, they're going to be wearing a mask, which means that if they're wearing a mask, this is a much more comfortable way for them to get a sight picture when they're wearing a mask than wearing anything else. I kind of go into that in like that Monk Customs video that I have, but this with a mask on, super comfortable, and you're getting a great point of aim. If kids aren't really competing, I don't try to push this or try to suggest this to them unless they're like, oh, what's that? I would like that because it's cool and it's different and it doesn't look like a traditional NATO style M4. The SSG-1s do come in 3 colors. They have the blue, the red, and the black, which I'm sold out of. But one thing you do want to remember to mention is that the reds and the blues come with a replacement orange tip, so it just doesn't have that funky orangeness on the front. So if you have the red or the blue, it can be red from the start of the barrel all the way up to the muzzle. The Predator. I really like these. These have a pretty cool look to them. Other than like this cool aesthetic quality to it, one of the selling factors for me, or like the benefits and features that I like to mention, just like with the CM18s, this is going to be shooting at about that 350 to 370 range. So bring up that this is an increased price compared to those rifles because it has this different rail and it's also shooting a little bit more powerful than even the CM18. The PCC-45. Anytime a player is like, hey, I want a gun, I don't want an M4, or I want something kind of different, this guy, it's $330. We sell it for $330. Now, if you're buying it through 101 Tech, the minimum advertised price is $330. If you look at Evike, I think it's like $340 or something like that. Again, you need to be buying manufacturer direct. What I like about this is it has this cool little crab arm feature where it's like, hey, but it will have that little functioning, bolt release thingy, dealy, who's it, what's it's. It does have the folding stock, so that is another feature you can add in there. And the overall aesthetic quality of it not being an M4 and still shooting between that 350 to 360 range is pretty sweet. Plus, it comes with one of these magazines, which has this cool bullet look to it. That's pretty neat. You're gonna want to sell at least 2 extra magazines with it. This is a proprietary magazine. You can't just go like, oh, this is like every other PCC-40. No. So if you're selling one of these PCC-45s, you're gonna wanna also sell it with 2 extra magazines, and I highly recommend bundling that together since you know they're gonna probably buy that anyway. Just take a few bucks off and be like, hey, if you buy both of these magazines and get them the hell off my shelf, I'll knock off $3 per magazine, whatever you wanna do. We need to talk about the ARP9 for a second. Remember when these things came out, granted this was pre-COVID, when they dropped, they were like $220 retail. Now I'm selling them for $285. That is also the lowest advertised price that you can sell an ARP9 for without pissing off Charlie. So that is something to factor in. Again, these are gonna come with a 30% margin. Hey, managers, this is a good idea. But recently, I've had these ARP9s on my shelf for quite a while, and they're kind of tough to sell because now they're 285 bucks. This is where it gets a little bit more challenging. The ARP9s are usually like a birthday, Christmas present kind of gun. At my field, it's a little easier to sell them. I feel like in SoCal, they're a little easier. If you're at like a shorter, close quarter style field, or if you're at a field that caps guns at 350, these are gonna be pretty easy to sell. But at all my fields, you can run 400 FPS. But the trigger response, the colors, the upgradability, the fact that it's not an M4, and it does look pretty cool, and the fact that overall this gun is an outstanding starter package is really solid. The downside you're gonna run into is you're gonna wanna store these things, the battery extenders. Now, the 2.0 ARP9 will be dropping soon. However, if you have the original ARP9s, you are definitely gonna wanna also sell these. Again, offer it in a bundle package, just so it's easier to sell a battery. But great things about this rifle. One, it does come in different colors. Two, it's the same engine as the rest of the combat machines, so these things are really easy to upgrade. There are dudes that are throwing all kinds of HBA systems that are DSG SSGing these things, Gate Titans, everything. They're super easy to upgrade. They do have one of probably the second fastest trigger response out of any G&G gun that I can think of. The fastest trigger response gun for me out of G&Gs is gonna be that SSG-1. So the trigger response on this thing is nuts. It's not an M4, it's compact, so it's new player friendly, the exception of the price. But if you can do a good job going, man, you're gonna have so much fun with this gun, because they are. Who's ever shot an ARP9 and was like, oh, yeah, this is a fun airsoft gun, I guess. Dude, this thing freaking slaps. But I will tell you from experience, the one hang up is going to be that $285 price point. No matter how good of a job you can convince someone of how worth it this is, they're still gonna be stuck on that price point. Womp womp. That is pretty much it for like a really quick rundown on some talking points when selling G&G rifles. If you work at a store and you found this really helpful and informative, please let me know what store you work at, because that would be really, really cool. Thank you for watching the video, and I love you guys. Bye-bye.
Caber, who the f*** are you, nerd?